All right, welcome back, everybody. Sorry, Zoom apparently doesn't want to work for us today, so we're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way like we did in the old radio show, and that's fine. As we head out to Las Vegas, we mentioned it earlier in our last segment, the Frozen Four resumes coming up here at 4 o'clock today, 2 o'clock local time for UND's matchup against Wisconsin. It'll be followed by Denver taking on Michigan in the late game. Our guy Riley Swenson, who's been a man about all over the country. He's went from Buffalo, New York, to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, to Las Vegas, Nevada the last 3 weeks. I don't know if we told you about the perks of the job of traveling over the last 3 weeks. How's Vegas?
I'll tell you what, it's certainly more enjoyable
than Buffalo?
And that's not a knock. Either of those. Just the weather is a little nicer here, so I've definitely enjoyed my time a little more here so far.
So we saw last night you had a story on, let's just start first on the amount of fans. Was it overwhelming? Did it hit you in the face, or has it been kind of scattered about? What's the amount of North Dakota fans you've run into so far?
I wouldn't say overwhelming. I would say probably what I expected. I remember I was here a few years ago when Arizona State played UND at the same arena, and I remember telling my buddies, I was like, guys, they're going to take over the place. And they're like, no way. And I was like, and sure enough, they did. And I think there's still probably more on the way as we speak. Even as I was walking around the lobby late last night around 10 o'clock, there was still some checking in. So I think that by the time we get to puck drop today, it will be overwhelming. I just don't know if it was quite to the point I'd say overwhelming yesterday. But there's definitely more UND fans than Michigan, Denver. Wisconsin's probably number 2, honestly.
Listen, there's a tweet that came out. There's an Allegiant flight from Grand Forks direct to Vegas that lands just after 1 o'clock tomorrow, less than an hour before puck drop. That's 1 o'clock Pacific time. Has there ever been a flight with more pressure to arrive on time? I have to imagine, to your point, there's got to be a ton of fans on that flight.
Yeah, I would think so. I saw that tweet. From what my experience was, I wish them the best of luck. The Vegas airport was great, and everything was fantastic. So
we saw your story yesterday as well, the signage around town there. I mean, obviously Vegas has become a hockey city with the Golden Knights there, but you were out there, as you mentioned, for that Arizona State game. Describe how Las Vegas has become a hockey city.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. So I've actually I was on a family vacation the year that the Vegas Knights had their inaugural season, and we went to a game. And so I've seen it from the very start, actually. It's been cool. I mean, when we were in Buffalo, like I was talking about, you wouldn't have even known there was a basketball tournament going on if you weren't there for the tournament. Where they have signs here everywhere. They're really embracing it, and you wouldn't think. I mean, it's still not going to be a St. Paul or a Boston where the local feel is all about hockey. But there's definitely more of a feel that I probably expected, to be honest. Of these people are excited to have the event here.
I think if goes the way they hope, that this becomes like Tampa. People love going to Tampa. That's becoming like a regular rotation spot. That if this goes well today and Saturday, that you could certainly see Vegas be in the Frozen Four rotation, right?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, it's been a lot of chatter on Twitter over the last couple weeks about what to do with the sites. I've seen people wanting to rotate them between a couple. And obviously, you're going to have St. Paul and Boston are always going to be there. Like you said, Tampa, people love that one. But so far, I would say people would want to come back to Vegas as well. All
right, let's actually talk about on ice here. You got to visit with some of the players yesterday. They seem pretty chill about what's to come with a matchup with Wisconsin. Give me your 1,000-foot viewpoint of visiting with the team yesterday with UND and where they're at mentally for this game.
Yeah, no, I think you hit it right there. Is when we walked in the locker room, there was just kind of this sense of, they're just guys hanging out playing another hockey game. It doesn't seem like they're too worried about it being the Frozen Four or too worried about what's at stake here. And, you can say all the right things and still maybe feel a little bit of nerves inside. But I do think that there's a lot of guys on this team, too, that although they haven't played in a Frozen Four, I talked about it a little yesterday. They've played in the World Juniors. These guys have played in big tournaments I know Jake Livanovich won the Clark Cup in the USHL. So, I mean, although they haven't played in a Frozen Four, and it's hard to replicate that, they've played big games, and it just seems like they're, just a group of guys that like hanging out with each other and want to keep that rolling.
This matchup with Wisconsin, I don't know if anybody expect the Badgers to be there. With Michigan State being in that bracket, are they, quote unquote, the Cinderella of the four teams that are there?
I mean, I guess you'd have to say yes, but when it's the teams with the foremost national championships in college hockey, it's tough to say any of them are Cinderellas. But talking with Will Zellers yesterday, he said, they're from the Big Ten, but they play a lot like an NCHC team, physical, fast. And so I think that's what people might notice today is, it's going to feel maybe a lot like a conference game in the middle of February. They also have talked about the rivalry, and Cole Reschny, I think, put it best we know there's a rivalry there, but he said that's not what's getting us up for this game. He said we're playing for the chance to go to the national championship. And the rivalry stuff, I think, is fun for guys like us to talk about, but I don't think the players, they obviously weren't even alive in 1982, whatever it was.
Right.
So.
The other storyline, I know you did this earlier in the week, that all the goalies are freshmen? That's outrageous.
Yeah, no, it is crazy. Now, the thing about it, though, you got to remember is they're freshmen, but it's not like it's college basketball where they're truly 19 years old. I mean, they're guys that have played overseas and then went to the USHL, so they're, 20, 21-year-old freshmen, but still, yes, it is pretty crazy. First time ever, all four in the Frozen Four being freshmen, and I think UND fans coming into it, I don't know if they've had this feeling for a while, but you probably feel like if you're a UND fan, you've got the best of the four goalies that are remaining here.
Well, he hasn't allowed a goal yet, right? So he hasn't allowed a goal in the tournament yet.
Yeah, exactly.
What's on tap here today? I know you got a live shot to do here right when we're wrapping up. What do you have planned for us coming up on the news tonight?
Yeah, so I'm gonna head down just outside the arena. There's a little Frozen Four fan fest going on, so I'll be live in the 11 o'clock news coming up here. Just a little preview of the game. And once the game wraps up, we'll have full highlights and reaction tonight at 10. The game will still be going on at 6, so we'll get you a score update from there. But at 10, we'll have full stories, and then if they win, we'll be right back at it tomorrow with more press conferences and things of that nature.
Are you right there, or where's it? Are you the media hotel? Are you close by, or are you a little ways away from T-Mobile Arena?
I am the closest you could possibly be. The media hotel is Park MGM. I could throw a rock and hit the arena, which is perfect for my purposes. It'll be a 5-minute walk from my hotel room to the.
There we go. For those that haven't been, where in relation to the Strip are you?
It's like a block off of it is where the arena sits. So it's just behind the New York, which is so it's just behind that. So, it's barely off the Strip. It's a pretty prime location, to be honest.
Well, all right. You got to get back to work. Thanks for doing this, bud. Great stuff. We're looking forward to what you got cranking today, and stay cool out there, okay?
All right. Thank you. I appreciate it.
There he goes, our guy, Riley Swenson. You'll see him coming up here in about 15 minutes after our newscast, or our show wraps up. Our newscast coming up at the top of the hour, and he'll have live coverage coming up later today. Game at 4 o'clock on ESPN2 with the second semi to come at 7:30 tonight. We mentioned it as well. The national championship game will be on Saturday, and that has been moved to a 4 o'clock start Central Time on ESPN. They moved to the big channel, which is for the first time in, a while. They have not been on main ESPN. I got to say, at least it's been a decade that since they've been on big ESPN. So that's a big win for college hockey in its own right there. Because I don't remember, I have to look back, the UND Quinnipiac when they won it in 2016. That might have been ESPN. Traditionally, it's been ESPN2 here over the last little bit. So that you take that whenever you can, even if it is in the middle of the afternoon for the title game coming up on Saturday. So appreciate giving Riley there and making that happen over the phone. We got our engineers working on it. Hopefully we can get that situated for tomorrow's show on that. But again, I'm seeing more tweets on the amount of people that are out in Vegas. Another one here. No Deck fans are everywhere. You can see UND gear all over. Our guy Schlossman says UND fans have come to Vegas from all over, including Saudi Arabia. That is a ways to go to see your team play, but it's been a decade. I don't think you don't take those for granted of making it there after you've been there so often, and then you have a drought like they've had to get back. And as a city like that, you had to know full well that they were going to embrace it as much as they are. And looking forward to that. It's part of a great Sports Thursday, which we're going to preview coming up here before we wrap things up, of what's on tap today, because that's one of the great sporting events that we have. And it's unique. I had the distinct pleasure to go in 2015 when UND was there in Boston. And that, to Riley's point, now there's a hockey city steeped in tradition. I remember doing a live shot outside the TD Garden right next to Bobby Orr's statue of him flying through the air when he scored the game-winning goal in 1970 to give the Bruins the Stanley Cup, the first time that Boston had won the Stanley Cup in 50 years. That was a different experience. Simply, weather was not great. It was about 40 degrees and rainy the 3 days we were there. I don't think it dampened any of the UND fans that decided to go to Boston that year. But this is, it's not only you're going to cheer on the team, you got a getaway as well in early April, considering what you're looking at outside. To go when it's 85 to 90 degrees in Las Vegas, yeah, I can see why, again, the NCAA would probably say, you know what, we're going to have this in our 5-city rotation going forward. And like the Super Bowl has made it known. The NFL's made it known. Las Vegas is now in the Super Bowl rotation, I would imagine. Like Tampa's in it now for the Frozen Four, that Vegas is going to be part of that as well. All right, we'll take our final break. We come back, we'll wrap things up here on a Thursday morning, get you set for one of the best sports days of the year. Hot Mike will wrap on WDAY Extra right after this.